I recently just watched day 2 of the Pokemon Master Ball League from Indonesia and Pokemon TCG Master Ball League from Indonesia, and I actually saw quite a few interesting decks. I didn't see the entirety of it, but I did see like the finals, such as like the top 8s, as well as the the quarterfinals, top 8, top 4, and then the finals, which was actually the whole tournament. Spoiler alert, was actually won by a Festival Elite player, which is why it led me to making this video, because Festival, and it wasn't an easy win for Festival Elite, because I have played Festival Elite since the start of my Pokemon TCG journey back in February this year, and I've always struggled against decks which do spread damage. In particular, decks like Dragapult is a very easy counter for Festival Elite. I consider it probably 70-30 or 80-20 favor towards Dragapult. But this player, Feriawan from Indonesia, he actually won this whole tournament by beating Dragapult players along the way. Obviously, maybe not all of his opponents were playing Dragapult, but he did beat Dragapult Noir in the top 4, which is the semi-finals, and he beat the Anger, which is our Dragapult Blaziken player, in the finals. So this is how I'm gonna break it down at how he did it. And for your information, actually in Indonesia, very similar to Japan, is that the pitch black play cards, the pitch black cards, were already legal in Indonesia, because English is always the last to get the release, the new cards. English has always been the last to get it released. So in the case of Indonesia, they play in Bahasa Indonesia, so which is in Malay. So they get their cards earlier than English, which is what we're getting in Singapore. So they have it legal for tournament play. And in this Master Ball League, I did see quite a lot of how should I say, Dhelmise players. Let me see. Here, let me timestamp it. I think it's about 156, right? Yeah. So there were quite a lot of the hide and seek Dhelmise players in this Master Ball League as well, because this is one of the strong one prize decks, and a lot of content creators on YouTube have been talking up about the Dhelmise decks, because he got second place at the Japan World Championships recently. And first place was kind of like a box deck, kind of like a Clefairy box deck, I think. But second place went to the Dhelmise deck, one prizer. And they were talking about how he has a good counter against Dragapult, because you can put release Clefairy in, and then the Dhelmise will do psychic damage. With 1 psychic energy, you can one-shot a Dragapult. But nobody's talking about how Festival Elite can actually be competitive with the card that's in this set, which is just one new card that makes Festival Elite push Festival Elite over the edge to become a really competitive deck and to win this whole Master Ball League, sending Feriawan to the Worlds, right? So he get a free Worlds travel invite. He's gonna compete in Worlds this year. So that card is this Gladions Decisive Battle, or you can call it Gladions Final Battle. So this is at Pokemon Proxies. They have a translated version of the Japanese cards, but we don't know whether the wordings are going to be exactly the same, but probably the description, the item description, and how the card works are probably going to stay the same. That means you may only play this card if it's the only card in your hand, and during this turn, attacks used by Pokemon that do not have a rule box, that means any non-EX Pokemon, do 80 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So it does 80 more damage not just to opponent's active EX Pokemon, but it does 80 damage to any other Pokemon. So let's say you're versus maybe a Slowking deck, right? That they have no EX Pokemon in the active. You can also use this additional 80 damage on them. You're versus another Festival Elite deck, or maybe a Alakazam deck doesn't have EX Pokemon there. You can also use this card to do the additional 80 damage. So this is a pretty versatile card, and we're going to go through how this works, right? So maybe I'll go through this. So it's 853. So these are the so-called the timestamps that I made for this particular video. So I'll provide a link to the Indonesia Master Ball, Indonesia Pokemon TCG Master Ball League stream, and you can actually watch the whole stream there. If you have your time, you can watch the VOD. So you can refer to the timestamps in the video here. So 853. Let me go through it. So at 853, let's go back a bit. So exact time 15. Okay, so maybe just let's go through how the math works. So in this case, yeah, maybe we go through my here. So let's go through how this math works. For Festival Lead, right? If you're not aware, Festival Lead works mainly. The main attacker of Festival Lead is this Diplin Pokemon, which has do the wave attack, does 20 damage for each of your bench Pokemon. So in the case that you get a full bench of 5 Pokemon, as you can see here, when you get a full bench of, oh, my bad. So full bench of 5. It's going to do 100 damage, right? Because through the wave is 20 damage multiplied by 5. So that's 100. So, and you have Festival Grounds, which here. So let me bring up Festival Grounds. Where are my Festival Grounds? Okay, right here. So Festival Grounds, each Pokemon that's any yeah, well, basically recovers one of the special conditions. But basically, if he has the Festival Lead ability, that means if Festival Grounds is in play, this Pokemon may use its attack twice. So Diplin attacks twice, and in this case, because Festival Grounds is in play, it's going to do 100 damage multiplied by 2, which is equals to 200, right? Going to write off the screen there. So in the case of Gladions Decisive Battle or Gladions Final Battle, however the card is going to be translated when it comes to the English Pitch Black version, it's going to do 100 plus 80, which is obviously equals to 180, right? And it's 180 on the first hit. Because of the Festival Lead ability, 180 is going to multiply by 2. So if you get 180 multiplied by 2, you're going to get 360 damage. So it's going to do a whopping 360 damage, and it's going to one-hit KO any Dragapult, because Dragapult only has 320 hit points, right? So that means if you get a full bench and you get Gladions Decisive Battle in play, you can one-hit KO a Dragapult with your Diplin. Obviously, you will need Festival Grounds in play as well. So, but the one question you might have is that how do I get my hand to be empty? Because most of the time we have lilies, we have card draw every turn, and if we take a knockout, we have prize cards, right? So how do we empty our hand? And Feriawan demonstrates this in his match versus Joey Emilio. This is the semi-finals. So I'm gonna play it out. So what he does, I believe, is to use Secret Box. So in this case, he switches his Diplin to the active. He's going to play Sacred Ash to recover some of his downed Pokemon, in this case the Applin and Diplin. And he's going to play Secret Box. So Secret Box will discard 3 cards from his hand. So here. So you can only use it to discard 3 other cards. So Secret Box discards 3. And by using Secret Box, you can actually get things like an item, a Pokemon 2, a supporter card, and a stadium. Of course, you may get these cards, and you may, but it's not compulsory that you get them. So in the case whereby you want to empty your hand, maybe you just search for a supporter card, in this case Gladions Decisive Battle, and you can just play it straight if you don't have any other cards in hand. If you have some other cards to discard as well, so in this case Feriawan demonstrates that using Secret Box, he actually searches out for Ultra Ball. So let's take a look. So he gets Ultra Ball, he gets right here. So he gets Ultra Ball, he gets Gladions Decisive Battle, and he gets Brave Bangle, right? So Brave Bangle is another Pokemon 2 that helps him to do additional 30 damage to the opponent's active EX Pokemon, right here. So this Pokemon doesn't have a rule card attached. Yeah, so it can only be used by Pokemon that doesn't have a rule card. So that means all your one-price attackers, non-EX attackers can use this. So 30 more damage to your opponent's active EX. Okay, so in this case, it's going to do that. Yeah, so it's going to do, additional 30 damage. So he gets these 3 items. And he actually uses Ultra Ball to additionally down his hand. So he's going to attach the Brave Bangle to his active Pokemon. Uses Ultra Ball to discard 2 additional cards here, right when it's covered by his hand. So he Ultra Balled away 2 additional cards. And then he plays Gladions Decisive Battle as his final card. So his hand is empty, right? So he's managed to empty his hand of well, about 5 cards, because he uses Secret Box to discard 3, and then he uses Ultra Ball to discard the additional 2 cards that he has in his hand. So that's how you can empty your hand, by using both Secret Box and Ultra Ball. Yeah. So that's how you can get it in play. So what are the... Let's take a look. So how can we one-hit KO... Well, we already talked about the math, right, to one-hit KO. So in the finals, now we'll go to the finals, and we'll illustrate how he actually does it in the match. So in 939. So let's fast forward to 939. 52. Okay. So this is the finals, Feriawan versus Anger. I'm not gonna try and pronounce his last name. Wait, Farurosi. Okay. Feriawan H versus Anger Farurosi. And we're gonna see how he plays this out. So he has his Discipline in the active, 4 Pokemon in the bench. So he's now doing 80 damage, right? As a base, he has Festive Grounds already in play. So he uses Ultra Ball. Ultra Balls away 2 of his Pokemon. Okay, so Ultra Balls for a Tawaki. Uses the Tawaki Boom Boom Groove. Yes. By the way, Festival Elite has the strongest support cast, which is they can use the Tawakis can use Boom Boom Groove as long as you have a Festival Elite Pokemon in the active. So he plays Gladions here, but actually he just wants his bench to be full. So he Tawakis Boom Boom Grooves for another Applin, and then he plays Gladions Decisive Battle. And like I talked about the math earlier, it one-hit KOs because this is 100 and this is 80, right? Gladions Decisive Battle is 80, so it's 180 multiplied by 2, which is 360 damage. So it one-hit KOs the Dragapult here, which has only 320 health, as is indicated on the stream display. Yep, so he says attack twice, so he knocks it out. Okay, so we'll move on from there. But the key, Pokemon you need to include in your Festival deck against Dragapult specifically is the Rabsca. So let's take a look at what Rabsca does first. Let's say my PDGL. So Rabsca has Spherical Shield. So prevents all damage from and effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to your bench Pokemon, which means the Phantom Dive, the 60 damage from Phantom Dive is an effect of attack. So this Spherical Shield prevents it, and it also prevents all damage from attacks. So which means things like maybe your Starmie, right? So Starmie will have that additional 50 damage with his first attack. Maybe your Terra Greninja has the Mirage Barrage, 120 damage to 2 of your bench Pokemon. Things such as maybe the Snipe attack from what you call it, Fazentipity EX. What else? Maybe the what other things does spread damage? Grimstar EX. Grimstar EX has a 30 damage as an effect of attack. So all that will be prevented by Spherical Shield. So Spherical Shield is a key Pokemon to protect the bench, so that the Dragapult player can only take 1 prize per attack instead of like 2 prizes or maybe even more. You're using the 60 damage tokens, 60 damage counters from the Phantom Dive. Okay, so we'll see that, I believe, is it here? So 93758. Yeah, so I think it's a bit earlier. 93758. So it's around here. Okay. So you can see that it's preparing to get knocked out. Okay. So in this case, Anger forgets or doesn't know about the ability of Rabsca. So he has knocked out the Discipline, and he's saying to put 60 damage counters to knock out the Discipline in the bench. Well, does it knock out as well? Let me take a look. How much health does Discipline has? 80. So it doesn't knock out, but he wants to put 60 damage there. And Feriawan says, no, bro. Like, you can't do that, because he points to, if you repeat, just repeat in the video a little bit. Yes. So Feriawan actually points with his finger to his Rabsca. So he says, bro, Spirical Shoe is active. You cannot do 60. You cannot use the damage counters on my Diplin here, right? So it protects the bench. So that's how Rabsca works. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, so in this case, we talked about how Rabsca protects the bench. So without Rabsca, there is where Festival Elite will probably lose. So if you don't play Rabsca, let's see what happens. 945. 94500, right? Let's go back a little bit. Okay. Okay, maybe I fast forward a little bit. Okay, so in this case, what the Dragapult player Anger does is that he's gonna boss this. So we will watch this play out. Yeah, so it's gonna boss the Rabsca, and it's gonna knock it out. And because Spirical Shoe is in effect right before it gets knocked out, it still protects the bench. So Anger can't spread any damage counters. But once this has been knocked out, you no longer have the protection of Spirical Shoe, and we'll see how it helps him to win from here. So at 949, let's fast forward a little bit. 94903. Okay, so let's play it out here. So I fast forward a little bit in this match, but just to showcase to you guys how without Rabsca, even though our Festival Elite player Feriawan is down to a single prize, he did manage to knock out the Dragapult, but now he doesn't have Rabsca protecting his bench. He's gonna lose two of his attackers straight away, and he's gonna lose the game. So let's watch this play out. So Anger has just a 3P, but he already has one fire energy attached. He has two Blaziken EXs, which he can accelerate energy from his discard. So he has no problems with lack of energy. So all he needs is just Rare Candy and Dragapult, which is not that difficult, right? Because with the draw engine that Dragapult player has, with Rare Cloaks and so on. So he has Fast as well, so he uses Fast to draw additional 3 cards. Because his Dragapult just got knocked out. And you can see Rare Candy is in hand. So he plays Rare Candy and his Dragapult in his hand as well. So he evolves. Then it's going to accelerate energy from the Blazikens. Right? So he uses the Blazikens to accelerate the energy. Fast forward a little bit. He bumps the stadium. So it's pretty important to bump the stadium of the Festival Elite player, so that they don't have Festival Grounds in play. They can't, without Festival Grounds, they can't do that double attack. Okay, and let's watch him announce his attack. So he announces that he's going to attack 2. So he takes out both the Diplin and the Applin on the bench. Because there's no more Rabsca protecting it, so the 60 damage counters will take out the Applin. Because Applin is only at 40 health, right? So the 60 damage takes it out. And wait. Let me go back to this. So 60 damage counters knock it out, and he spreads and some additional 20 damage counters. Yep, on the Gladion here. So you might be thinking that, well, Feriawan is only one prize left, right? Surely he can do something. The problem is that he's only on a single Gladion. So in this position, he has no attackers left. He will either need to evolve this to a Seaking, or he needs to get Diplins onto his bench, but he will need too much, right? So he doesn't run Lana Set in his deck. I believe he only runs Sacred Ash as his Pokemon recovery. So he can Boom Boom Groove to search for Sacred Ash, but he cannot evolve the Diplins directly, and without a full bench, without Gladions Decisive Battle, he cannot KO this Dragapult. He could maybe get a boss's order using Boom Boom Groove to try and boss this, to try and knock it out, but he will need to do enough damage. So either he will need things like Festival Grounds, get the stadium, he will need additional energy. So there's 2 cards he needs to get using Boom Boom Groove, and he will need a third boss as well, right? So he needs 3 cards, and he doesn't get it. So all he has is, yeah, so all he has is that. So he gets the energy, but he will still need Seaking. So he needs additional card here. He needs more. So he needs Seaking Evolve. He needs Festival Grounds. So he needs 2 cards. And he still needs a boss, right? So he needs 3 cards. Technically 4 cards. He's lucky enough to get an energy, but he just doesn't get it. Checks his opponent discard. Thinks about it. Yeah, only has energy in his hand. Look at his discard. And he scoops, right? So he scoops, he signals that he will scoop this game. Let's go to game 2. So that's how you can lose as a Festival Elite player if you don't have, if the Rabsca is like boss killed and you don't have Pokemon recovery. So like you never use your Sacred Ash in time, or you don't have your Lana Set and stuff like that to protect your bench again. Okay, so the interesting thing about Gladions Decisive Battle is that you could use 4 bench Pokemon. Let's say you could be 1 Pokemon down on your bench and you can still 1-hit KO. So let's go to that at 947. So we backtrack a little bit in this match. 947, 41. So around here. Okay, so in this case, you would notice that, okay, our Festival Elite player only has 4 Pokemon in his bench. So it's only doing 80 damage. That might seem a bit lackluster, correct? So he plays Festival Grounds. Maybe fast forward a little bit. And he plays Gladions Decisive Battle. So he plays Gladions Decisive Battle and he announces a knockout on the opponent Dragapult. So the Dragapult anger is a little bit confused, right? Because he points. So he points that, bro, you're missing 1 bench Pokemon. So you're doing less damage, right? But if you think about it, it is enough. So anger explains that it is ×2. So how it actually works is that he has 4 bench Pokemon here. So remember, it's 20 times 4. There is 80 damage from the Diplin, correct? So 80 plus Gladions is another 80. So that would make it 160 damage. And if you multiply 160 damage by 2, you get exactly 320 damage, which is the hit points of a Dragapult. So it knocks it out. So it's just nice. So without Brave Bangle, without any other damage modifiers like Brave Bangle, and even without a full bench, as long as you get 4 bench Pokemon and you get to play Gladions Decisive Battle, obviously with Festive Grounds in play, which it is in play because this should be bumped. The area 0 underground should be bumped. Yeah, you will do exactly enough damage to 1-hit KO a Dragapult. And he thinks, then the judges say, yeah, the math is correct. So Anger has to concede his argument and then let his Dragapult be killed because it is obvious. 80 plus 80 is 160. 160 multiplied by 2 is 320. So it does knock out Dragapult. Okay. So in this case, well, we already talked about it that Pult players will always target the Relo and Rabsca, and it is shown in here. Let's go to 1004. 1004, 15. So maybe a little bit reverse. Okay. 1004, 15. Wait. Okay, so around here. Okay, so this is already in game 2. Anger actually won game 1 of the final, so you're in game 2. Feriawan has a pretty decent board setup. Anger, not yet. I think this is in turn 2, so it goes for Crispin, Monkey Dory confused play, and he targets the Relo because Relo is the stage, is a so-called the basic Pokemon that evolves into Rabsca that will have Spherical Shield, so he targets it first. So he bosses it up. And he knocks it out with the so-called well, here it says Psycho Trip. I forgot what it's called in English. But anyway, if you look at the Relo only has 50 health, so there's 60 damage from the Monkey Dory attack. Does 1-hit KO it. So it knocks it out. Okay, so that's a common targeting point. So Dragapult players will always try to target it. Okay, so in this case, the interesting about Gladions Decisive Battle is that you would think that it's only the Diplin that can take big knockouts, right? But in this case, no. So you will see how it plays out here. So Feriawan actually secret boxes. He actually boom grooves for a Shaman, because the Shaman is not that useful in this matchup versus Dragapult. Shaman is useful for other matchups like Slow King, as well as versus Terra Greninja and so on, and maybe versus Megastami. So his secret boxes for, maybe fast forward a little bit. Okay, secret boxes for yeah, Brave Bengal and Gladions, so you can see him pick it up here. A Brave Bengal as well as Gladions Decisive Battle, and 2 other cards. Oh, he gets an item in terms of Pokepad, so he gets a Pokepad. Pokepad for, I believe, a Tawaki. Then uses a Tawaki Boom Groove to search for something else. Search for a Diplin, evolves the Diplin, prepares his attackers. Okay, so he attaches Brave Bengal and uses Gladions Decisive Battle as his final card. And you will see what he does. So he knocks out, and Anger will bring up another Pokemon. Take note that Special Grounds is in play, so he will attack twice. And this knocks out as well. And he looks, and Anger was a little bit confused. You could see that he actually looks at his judge like, huh? It's knockout? So at this point, you can see Anger right here. He was confused. He was looking at the judges. He's like, what? It's a knockout? Like, why does my Blaziken EX dies? It has so much health. Take note that Blaziken EX is weak to water, and Seaking with Brave Bengal and Gladions is going to do a sizable amount of damage. So let's do the math here. So Seaking does 60 damage and draws 2 cards with each attack. So let's do the math on the screen here again. So we have, well, maybe we can just do it here. So Seaking has 60 damage, right? Because, no, this is Gladion. Seaking, 60 damage. So 60 damage, if you add Gladions Decisive Battle, so that's 80. 60 plus 80 is going to equals to 140 damage. So if you multiply 140 damage twice, that will be 280, right? 280. But the thing is that how Festival Grounds and Festival Lead works is that it does 140 damage in the first hit. So in the first 140 damage, it knocks out the Monkey Dory. So maybe easier for if we bring it back to the stream here. So let's reverse it a little bit. So the first 140 damage knocks out the Monkey Dory right here. Then I think Anger, forgetting that his Blaziken EX actually has a water weakness, does a misplay here by promoting it. But looking back, he couldn't have made other plays because we are doing, oh wait, we have Brave Bengal as well. Yeah, I forgot. So there's Brave Bengal. So it's 60 from Seaking, so it's right here, plus Gladions, which is 80 damage, plus another 30 damage from Brave Bengal if it's versus an EX Pokemon, which is in this case both the Meowth as well as the Blaziken EX. So it is again 60 plus 80. So we already have 140, right? Plus another 30. This would be equals to 170 damage. So 170 damage because of the weakness, water weakness of Blaziken is going to multiply by 2. So that's 340, which will one-hit KO the Blaziken EX. But even if he doesn't promote the Blaziken EX, let's say he promotes the Meowth. So Meowth has 170 health exactly. So Seaking with Brave Bengal as well as Gladions Decisive Battle also one-hit knocks out the Meowth as well. So the Meowth EX will also be knocked out. So either way, like Feriawan is either going to take 2 prizes or 3 prizes. So he takes 1 prize with the Monkey Dory, and then he's going to take maybe another 2 prize by knocking out the Blaziken EX, which Anger promoted, or if Anger promotes the Meowth, he's gonna take another 2 prize. It's because Anger actually really wanted to protect his Dragcloaks, because there's his draw engine plus his way to get to Dragapult, so he doesn't want to push any of his Dragcloaks up ahead, so he's gonna give up 3 prizes here. So in this case, Gladions Decisive Battle is really versatile. Like, you can use it with your Diplins. You can also use it with your Seaking. Along with Brave Bangle, you can also take big knockouts that way. So it's not just reserved for only for your Diplin. So even if you're in a situation where you cannot use your Diplins as an attacker, or where it's not convenient, if you have a way to evolve the Seaking, try it out. I mean, it can do a surprising amount of damage and give you a pretty good hand, because you can draw 4 cards with 2 attacks. So let's move on a bit. Okay, so the versatility of this deck, let's go to 1029. Okay, so this is the deck list that I think Anger is roughly running. So let's click view deck. So I don't have the exact deck list of Feriawan. I don't have the exact deck list of Feriawan. And take note that because Pokemon TCG Live doesn't have Pitch Black Live yet, so I'm using Black Belt's training as a replacement for Gladions Decisive Battle. So I believe he's running probably 2 Gladions, but I'm putting 2 Black Belts in place. And he also runs, I think he runs 1 Forest of Vitality and probably at least 3 or 4 Festival Grounds. Then he also runs Kiran. He obviously runs Brave Bangle, I think at least 2 of them, Secret Box, and so on. So there is a situation where you run out of Gladions Decisive Battle because you only run 2 copies of it, and you have no way of recovering any, like he doesn't run any Dedenne with Psychic Energy to try and recover any trainer cards. So in situations where he cannot get Gladions, he can also use other damage modifiers to get a knockout on Dragapults. So let's watch it play out here. Okay, so I think, did he Secret Box? Or did he Boom Boom Groove? Yeah, he Boom Boom Grooved. So he Boom Boom Groove for 2 cards. Take note, you don't need to show your opponent what cards you took from Boom Boom Groove. Okay, he Night Stretches for energy, attaches energy, then plays a Brave Bangle, and then uses Kiran. Because like we mentioned, in order to use Gladions Decisive Battle, you have to get an empty hand, right? So in this case, he still has cards in his hand, so he cannot use Gladions Decisive Battle, or maybe in this case, he could have already used up both, or he doesn't have access to the card. So you could also get Kiran from your deck, and that will one-hit KO. So how it works is that we have a full bench here, right? So we have 5 Pokemon. Diplin will do 100 damage. He has Brave Bangle, so we add 30, so that's 130. And what Kiran does is that you can choose to add an additional 30 damage. So Kiran here will do, during his turn, you can do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX. So let's bring him back to the stream. So in this case, he will add another 30. So he is doing 160 per hit. So we have 160, and because of Festival Lead and Festival Grounds in play, multiplied by 2, he's doing exactly 320 damage, which is the exact hit points of our Dragapult here. So Kiran with Brave Bangle, Festival Grounds in play, a full bench, also one-hit KOs Dragapult as well. Okay, so yeah, so then let's forward a little bit to the last play. I think it's around here, 3329, 33. We'll reverse a little bit. So this is the last play of Feriawan, the so-called the championship winning play. So just like I mentioned earlier, the Dragapult players will always try to target Rabsca or Redlaw or Rabsca to remove the Spherical Shield out of play. But in this case, because he targets this, he doesn't target the attackers. So we take a look here, right? So he powers up his Dragcloak. He bosses. So he bosses up the Redlaw from here. The Rabsca, sorry. He bosses the Rabsca. Place unfair stamp, so I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Uses recon directive, bumps the stadium. Bumps the stadium, and he doesn't have Dragapult, so he just uses the Jet Headbutt, I believe. Yeah, Jet Headbutt, 70 damage to knock out the Rabsca, which is exactly 70 hit points. So he knocks it out. So take note that this Diplin was still in Diplin was an attacker of the previous turn, so he still has Brave Bengal attached, still has energy attached, so he's all ready to attack. Okay, so he's gonna Boom Boom Groove for Festival Grounds. He has 2 Boom Boom Grooves, so he just look for Festival Grounds and Boss. And let's see what he does. He's just gonna make a full bench, so he benches Goldin as well. And he gets game, right? So he knocks out Fest for the last 2 prize, and how this math works out is 100 in play, right? And Fest only had 210 health. So with just 100, with just 5 bench Pokemon in play in Festival Grounds, it's not enough. You will need damage modifier, but note that he already has Brave Bengal attached. So Brave Bengal is gonna give that 30 damage, so it's 100 plus 30, then which is 130. You multiply by 2, it equals to 260 health. So it 1-hit K. So 2-hit KOs the Fest, and he bosses and knocks out the Fest for his last 2 prize, and he wins the Master Ball League Indonesia, and he gets his World's Invite. So overall, the Festival League deck actually it hasn't changed a lot. Like, people have been playing Festival League even before Pitch Black launch, mostly with a similar deck list as what I have here on my PDCG live. But with the inclusion of Gladions Decisive Battle, you really gain a lot more options. You're going to use 2 Gladions to probably replace your 2 Black Belts training. Then that gives you options to do additional 80 damage when you get an empty hand, which you can actually easily empty with things like Secret Box and Ultra Ball. So, and with that additional damage, you could even like do 1-hit KO. You can knock out even Dragapults with Seaking and Brave Bengal, right? So damage modifiers like Brave Bengal, Seaking, Gladions will enable you to knock out even if you have no ability to get your Diplin. Obviously, your Rabsca and Relor has to be in play to protect your bench. Otherwise you're still gonna lose to Dragapult players. So we hope this video is useful for you but if you potentially are already playing Festival League and you are looking to play Festival League going into when Pitch Black launches. I'm definitely gonna try playing more Festival League when I get Gladions Decisive Battle into my deck and see how well I do at local tournaments. Alright, we'll see you guys next one.